This is Eagle Owl, and today we'll be talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry visit with the Eagles. Also, we got to talk about vet tight end CJ Uzomah signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's get straight into it. All right, so let's just dive straight into it. Two topics today. Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is a guy, you guys been talking about to me. I mean, did a little research because the name is big, but what can he do? And man, he is a baller. I mean, far as what I've seen, of course, Alabama guy, so he's obviously battle tested. He went up against the best of the best receivers. I mean, big, physical, 6 foot, about 200 pounds, if not slightly under, like 198, 199. Can keep up with any receiver. He's everything you ask for. He remind me of Keely Ringo a lot, as far as like size, speed, and that type of stuff. People will say he's better than Keely Ringo. Hell, he probably is coming out of college. But the guy is good. I mean, I get it, and I see why people will want him over Cooper DeJean, because you could plug him in. He's definitely an outside corner. He's really good at that. I mean, we're talking about a guy that ran a 4.47 with a broken toe. A 4.47 basically with a broken toe. So this dude can definitely play. Or I think Cooper DeJean with him, I think he might go earlier than expected. But if Kool-Aid's there, Kool-Aid, especially being the outside corner, probably have a higher trajectory than Cooper DeJean. But I like Cooper DeJean as well because he could do a lot. Also, Kool-Aid, don't sleep on him as like a special teamers too. I know corners, especially with the Eagles, we don't really put them out as special team as much. But Kool-Aid can be a really good special teams guy and a really good outside, corner type guy. Now, people would say the corner room is overcrowded. I don't look at it that way. Once Slay and Bradbury's gone, Isaiah Rodgers is good. Avonte Maddox on a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure he's probably not going to sign back. So you really have Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, Isaiah Rodgers, and who else is there? Who else is there? So we really don't have a crowded room. Now, when you start adding in the vets, sure. But you got to start preparing yourself for the future, the near future, I would say. So Kool-Aid won't be a bad pick. And look, he can take James Bradbury's spot if picked. A lot of these dudes can take James Bradbury's spot. Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks, these dudes can take his spot because Howie Roseman is approaching this draft thing different. The reason why I haven't talked about offensive tackles is because they not plug and play now. They not plug and play now. So Derek Gunn actually went on the podcast and he talked about it, like how the Eagles are trying to get plug and play and how Howie is approaching this draft. But let me play this clip.
Anthony, and I will tell you this from what I know about talking to people on the inside. The first couple of picks that they draft this year, they want players that can come in and play now. They don't want project players. They have a lot of room. There's a lot of jobs wanted for that defense. When you lose your stabilizing force to retirement at Fletcher Cox, when you lose your best edge rusher in a Hassan Reddick, you have gaping holes to fill in that defense. I don't think there's any position on this defense except maybe Darius Slay and CJ GJ that are just set right now for this team. Well, Avonte Maddox coming back will be your slot corner. I love Avonte Maddox. His biggest problem is he can't stay healthy. But I think outside of that, I think it's wide open in terms of what this defense is going to look like in a Vic Fangio type defense. And so I agree with you. I think they have to get an edge rusher and they have to get another corner. Although I do believe, and I've said this on a number of platforms, the kids they have in house, like the Keely Ringos, the Eli Ricks, and when Sidney Brown is healthy.
Ringo.
I do too.
Like
I love his aggressiveness. You have to let these kids play. Go back to 2022. Look at what Kansas City did. They played with a bunch of kids on the back end of that defense, and people are like, what in the world are you doing? Okay. The first part of that season in 2022, those kids took a beating. It was like watching the Keystone Cops. They didn't know where they're supposed to be. All of a sudden, by late November, early December, it began to gel. Now, granted, you got a future Hall of Famer and Patrick Mahomes running the show. Not every team has that. But You have to develop from within. You can't keep picking up free agent, free agent, free agent, my brother. You have to, and they have the talent pool. I believe they have the talent pool, especially in the back end of that secondary, to let some of these kids develop.
You're so.
You see, and that's why I haven't talked about tackles like that. You know, people keep saying how he's going to approach this draft, maybe even take a tackle first round. I don't see it. I simply don't see it, especially with the holes on the defensive side. And Derek Gunn said it best. Besides what CJ Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, spots can be taken. Well, you could say Bryce Huff, but a lot of spots can be taken. Our defense is wide open. Linebackers, hell, besides Kool-Aid, what about linebacker out of Texas A&M? What about him? You know, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the other linebackers that are out there. So these first 3 picks have to be plug and play guys. We really don't need, you know, projects the first 3 picks. Not the first 3. The later ones, sure. But the first 3 picks got to hit. Like, we get Kool-Aid, he got to hit. If we get Cooper DeJean, he got to hit. If we get Edgerrin Cooper, he got to hit. You know, the first picks definitely got to hit. They have to. We really don't have time. Again, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Derek Gunn also made another good point. If we decide to go really young on the defensive side, of course, we still have Slay and Bradbury. But if we decide to go really young, especially next season, I think it'd be the smartest thing the Eagles did. Yeah, it's going to be some hiccups here and there. And he brought up the Chiefs. We played the young defensive Chiefs, but you seen like towards the later of the year, then the next year, Chiefs were one of the best, if not the best defense in the NFL. And we seen the slumps. We seen the Chiefs defense look bad just 2 years ago, but they let the young guys play like McDuffie and stuff. Eventually, it's going to have to be Keely Ringo or whoever we draft or Eli Ricks. It's going to be hard to watch the first couple weeks, man. It's going to be hard to watch, but at some point, we have to let our young guys do what they do. We have to, especially we get young linebackers like Nakobe Dean, maybe Edgerrin Cooper, maybe Devin White or something. We have to let these dudes play. I know we want a free agent, which free agents help. Look at our Super Bowl season. But at some point, you got to build a dynasty, build a team, and get guys out the draft and really let them play. But again, back on topic, Kool-Aid, numbers phenomenal. I mean, the workouts numbers were phenomenal. I wouldn't be mad at it. You know, I wouldn't be mad at it. Again, a sleeper special teamers guy, and also a guy that will be ready to play at the pro level, because that James Bradbury spot is wide open. Slay really been dealing with injuries, and he's only getting older. So another young guy will get a chance to play. I like Isaiah Rodgers. You know, again, I like him. I like Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks. I keep bringing them up because just in case we don't get a corner, I'm pretty on the side of the corners we got now. I like the guys we have now. All right. Speaking of a guy we signed, let's talk about CJ Uzomah, tight end from the New York Jets / Cincinnati Bengals, had over 15, 16, whatever, 100 yards in his career. And a lot of people ain't like this signing. I actually did. You know, a lot of people like, well, what he do the past 2 seasons? I mean, he was with the Jets. That's what happened. I mean, they had Zach Wilson. You know, we talking about a guy that can block, that can catch, you know, a reliable vet tight end. Definitely an upgrade over Jack Stahl, who just went to New York. I mean, why not? I mean, he got a chance to be tight end 2, tight end 3. I believe we might get a tight end early. Don't be surprised. Think the first 2 picks might be defense, but that if we don't trade away that 52nd whatever pick, I believe that can possibly be a tight end. But I think we get a tight end early because that's what we do. You know, Dallas Goedert's getting older. We get a tight end, and then let the Grant Calcaterras, the CJ Uzomahs, You know, and those guys battle it out. We already know Dallas Goedert's going to be number one. Whoever we draft early, possibly, will be that number two. Keep 3 on the roster. Look, CJ Uzomah is not a bad pickup. Don't worry about the numbers he did with the Jets. Besides Garrett Wilson, who did numbers with the Jets? Who did numbers with the Jets? So I like this signing. You know, reliable guy. Upgrade again over Jack Stoll. I'm just keeping it real. Keeping it real. It's nothing to hate about this signing. But hey, man, what do you think and how do you feel about the news today? Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Philadelphia Eagles. I know a lot of people like him. I wouldn't be mad at it. CJ Uzomah. But this is Eagle Al, man.